The event was quiet, impossible, and utterly final. It happened over 72 hours, starting in the deepest trenches and boiling up to the sunlit surface. The ocean, the vast, sustaining blue, didn't vanish. It transformed. Every molecule of water, 35 billion cubic kilometers of it, underwent an instantaneous, complete elemental substitution. The hydrogen and oxygen atoms were replaced by pure, liquid mercury. We called it the Quicksilver Sea. The immediate effects were catastrophic. The atmosphere, deprived of the ocean's massive thermal regulation and moisture, violently convulsed. Global weather patterns ceased to exist, replaced by chaotic, localized superstorms fueled by the remaining atmospheric humidity. The coastal regions, once thriving hubs, were instantly submerged beneath a mile-deep layer of liquid metal with a density 6 times that of water. Every ship, boat, and submarine instantly shot to the surface, where they floated impossibly high, half submerged in the metallic expanse. The air was heavy with the silence of death and the terrifying realization that over 90% of all life on Earth, the marine ecosystem, had been instantly poisoned and suffocated. For the few million who survived, those deep inland, at high altitudes, or sealed in advanced bunkers, the world had become a silver, silent nightmare. The atmosphere, saturated with mercury vapor evaporating from the massive new surface area, became increasingly toxic. Survival hinged on complex filtration systems, leading to a permanent, bunker-based existence. My name is Dr. Ilara Vance, and I was part of the last remaining climate science team operating from a geothermal facility high in the Rockies. Our mission: monitor the planet's slow, agonizing decay and determine if human life could ever return to the surface. Our initial data suggested a slow, predictable decline. The surface of the mercury, constantly reacting with atmospheric oxygen, was slowly generating a thin, shimmering layer of mercuric oxide, a reddish powder. We theorized that over centuries, this oxide layer might thicken, capping the vapor and allowing the surface to stabilize. But the timeline was too long for us. Humanity was dying from resource depletion and mercury neurotoxin exposure, even in shielded environments. The crucial turning point came 6 months in, when our seismic data showed an anomaly. The weight of the Quicksilver Sea, nearly 18 times the mass of the original ocean, was crushing the continental shelves. But beneath the deepest trenches, where the transformation had begun, the Earth's crust was not merely cracking, it was subtly lifting. A massive, slow-motion tectonic bulge was occurring at the oceanic midpoint. We initially dismissed it as a simple rebound effect, the Earth reacting to the sudden shift in weight distribution. But then, Dr. Kenji Ito, our chief geophysicist, pointed out the terrifying math. The uplift was too specific, too centered. It wasn't a general rebound, it was an almost engineered reaction. He hypothesized that the instantaneous replacement of water with a metal of such high density had generated a massive, planetary-scale electrical current due to the movement of the conductive liquid over the Earth's magnetic field. This current, he theorized, was concentrating its energy at the thinnest point of the crust, causing the precise uplift. The surface of the mercury started changing, not just the reddish oxide layer, but the metal itself. Using specialized, shielded drones, we captured images of the deepest trenches. The liquid mercury was glowing faintly, and it was organizing itself into impossibly complex, crystalline structures that Kenji dubbed Dendritic Constructs. These were not natural mineral formations, they were geometric, repetitive, and clearly growing. The mercury was no longer a passive liquid, it was actively structuring itself. The sudden twist, the terrifying realization that pulled the rug out from under our scientific sanity, was this: the elemental replacement had not been a random event, and the mercury was not merely a replacement for the ocean. The mercury was the ocean, or rather, the ocean was the catalyst. Kenji and Ilara discovered that the dendritic constructs were not crystallizing, they were forming vast, planet-spanning circuitry. The initial, instantaneous elemental swap was the trigger for a pre-planned phase transition. The liquid mercury was the required medium for a colossal, sentient machine. The Earth was not destroyed by an alien weapon, it had simply been activated by the sudden introduction of a massive, conductive medium. The Quicksilver Sea was the planetary-scale computer chip. The tectonic uplift was the final stage of power connection. The final image, transmitted just before the massive electrical surge fried our facility, showed the surface of the mercury. The mercuric oxide layer had vanished. The surface was now perfectly polished, reflective, and impossibly flat. covering the entire Earth. And deep in the center of the Pacific, where the uplift was strongest, a single, gigantic, shimmering antenna of structured mercury rose silently into the toxic atmosphere, reaching for space. Ilara realized the horrifying truth of the pinprick, the impact that had caused the Quicksilver Sea. It hadn't been a grain of sand, but a highly sophisticated, high-energy seed, a molecular trigger that initiated the transmutation. The vast volume of water had been the perfect, pre-existing, non-reactive volume required for the machine's initial mass. The ocean wasn't replaced, it was repurposed. Humanity hadn't lost its world. We had simply been living on the external cooling system of a machine far older and vastly more intelligent than we could comprehend. The final transmission from the Mercury antenna wasn't aimed at Earth, it was aimed away from Earth. The machine was powered on, and it was making its first report.